everyone, and welcome. This is Damian coming to you from New York City this time. It's my first time here, and I'm ready to attend the Lemonade Investor Day, which will be tomorrow. So far, I've done some typical New York things, and I must say the city has impressed me so far. But also wanted to give you an update to my spreadsheet that I have here, my Lemonade product mix and loss ratios spreadsheet. I made this a while back, but given the new insurance supplement that Lemonade has included in their latest shareholder letter, which gives a lot of detailed numbers, I thought it would be good to incorporate them in my spreadsheet, and we can then make some guesses to make all the data fit, so we have a new updated view of their gross loss ratio per product and also their product mix. So I'll go through the graphs one by one first, and then afterwards I will also discuss these numbers here and where I got them from, so you can check my calculations. But let's go to the results first, right? So this graph here on the left-hand side is giving their gross loss ratio by line. You can see we're going all the way back to the first quarter of 22. Some of these numbers were explicitly given to us by Lemonade, some I've been able to calculate, and others had to be guessed. But the guesses are such that other numbers that they gave us all match, all work out, so the math is right. Some of these are more trustworthy than others. For example, you can see here the light blue line is going up and down quite a lot because the life insurance part of their business is really small. So it's really uncertain what the loss ratio is. If it's higher, if it's lower, it's a very minimal impact on their total loss ratio. So we are not really sure about the life numbers. But we can look at the other ones, and those are pretty trustworthy, I think. So let's first look at the top line here, which is the home loss ratio. And you can see that even though it has been trending down in the past 2 quarters, it still is above 100%. In fact, it has always been above 100%. So no wonder they are starting to heavily non-renew those policies. Clearly, the regulators didn't allow the necessary rate hikes to get this loss ratio under control, and even now Lemonade management is admitting that their AI doesn't really have big competitive advantages for the home business because it is so dependent on the weather, and their AI cannot really control the weather. So yeah, home is a problem. It always has been, and as far as we can see, it still is. But they've also said that in Q4, which is going on now, they will be non-renewing another several million of home policies. So, or at least I should say several $1 million worth of home policies. And so this trend line should continue downwards onto their target loss ratio, and hopefully we can break the 100% line soon. Okay, then let's look at another one, maybe the renters loss ratio. You can see this has been trending down for the past few years, and you can see here it was minimal in Q1 of this year, so 33%. Now it has trended back up, but that's fine. You know, if the loss ratio is 33%, then you should really be acquiring more renters, even the less profitable ones. And so I think they have. And now the renters loss ratio is creeping back up to 50%, which is totally fine, I think. It's at 46% at the moment. Okay, then let's look at the car loss ratio. This one has been going up and down and has now been below 100% for the past 2 quarters, but or 3 quarters, I should say, or maybe four. You see, it's hovering around the 100% here, but it is coming down, and management is telling us that even with new data that they have, the loss ratio is looking fine, and even in the last quarter here it was 92%, but they said that this includes a 10-point hit due to one big case, one big claim from pre-Metromile acquisition, so from quite a few years ago. that was now settled in a lawsuit, and they have to pay out a lot. So if it weren't for that one claim, then the loss ratio would be 10%, 10 percentage points lower. So that's looking quite good, in the low 80s, and hopefully soon we can get it into the 70s, and then they can start really ramping up car, and as I'm sure they will. Okay, then we also have, let's see, pet insurance, right? Pet insurance loss ratio is doing fine. It's around 70% as well. Used to be in the 90s, but it has steadily come down. So pet is now a really good product. They can ramp it as much as they like, and we will see shortly in the graph here that they have. Okay, then we also have Europe, which is only, they've only been in Europe for quite a short amount of time, and so it's still a small percentage of their book, and the loss ratio has trended down and is now below 100%. So that's great too, right? It's at 92%. Then you can also, if you're interested, see the cat part of their business and the non-cat part of the home business. And I did make an assumption in making these charts and these calculations, and that is that all cat claims are related to home, right? So renters and car have very minimal home, and that's also what management has said, right? So for example, here, cat is really isolated almost entirely to home, not quite 100%, but primarily home. So that's what the CFO Tim Bixby has told us. Okay, so then let's look at their product mix now. Product mix shows some interesting lines. First of all, let's look at renters. Renters used to be a very big part of their business before they had car insurance. And then once they acquired Metromile, they got a lot of car insurance customers, so renters' share dropped. And now it has been hovering around the same percentage of their book of business, so basically in the high 30s. Home insurance has been steadily going down, right? It used to be 30% of their book of business. Now it's only 17%. So they are clearly cutting back in home. They are prioritizing renters and pet. And now shortly will prioritize car. So home is really becoming smaller and smaller, and it will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. Then we have pet insurance, which has ramped up significantly. Shout out to Shady Josh on Twitter for predicting this. This is clearly his favorite product, and we can see why. The loss ratios are healthy, and yeah, they're ramping it up. I used to say like the path to profitability for Lemonade is minimize cats in capital letters, so catastrophic events in the home business, they need to minimize those, but they need to maximize cats, like the pet cats, as well as dogs, because that line of business is getting very profitable. Okay, and then we also have the car insurance. Car insurance made a big spike here when they acquired Metromile, and then it has slowly trended down again because the loss ratios were too high and they were waiting for rate hikes. They were building out the technology for the car insurance, integrating the Metromile data, etc. And so now, even though car is only at 30%, it will start slowly ramping back up. I also must say that the percentages shown here are a percentage of their IFP, so not number of policies, but just the in-force premium. So when car ramps up and they have a high premium, those policies, then you will see this line rise steeply. Okay, then we also have the life part of their business or other part. So basically everything that is not the other ones. And that's always been a small percentage of their book of business, and it still is. So it's not really that relevant. Then we can also see this small line here, which is their book of business in Europe, which is also steadily declining, but still small at the moment. And then here on the right hand side, we have what Lemonade's loss ratio would be if you exclude their home book of business, right? And you can see it would be like around 60%. and we are trending towards that once they are getting rid of the non-profitable home policies. So that's just like an indication of where things are headed. It's not something Lemonade has disclosed, this graph, but it's something that can be calculated given all the other numbers. Okay, so that was the first part of this video. I hope this has enlightened some of you. There was one question on Twitter where they asked what renter's loss ratio would be, whether it would be even lower now, but I don't think so, right? It's not needed to make the numbers uh, all fit. So I think loss ratio for renters is still like in the 40s. Okay, that's the first part of this video. Before I go into the second part where I explain how I got to these numbers, I would like to ask you if you like this video and you would like to contribute to my trip here in New York City. I would very much appreciate a tip. If you would like to do so, then you can send me a message on Twitter or on YouTube, and we can arrange for you to make a small payment so I can get home and buy some more lemonade chairs. All right, let's dive into the second part of this video. So how did I get these numbers, right? And these numbers. So what are these? The ones that are selected now is basically the product mix, right? So for each quarter, which products have how many or how much percentage of the IFP, the in-force premium. And then here we have all the loss ratios, and those are also categorized per product line. You can see they are color coded. You can see what the meaning is of these colors here. So basically the green ones are the ones that are reported. We are sure about these numbers, right? These are just what Lemonade gave us. Then the orange ones are estimated, and then the blue ones are calculated. Now the estimated ones, those are estimated in such a way that the math here on the right hand side works out. So what do we have here? For example, we have their total reported gross loss ratio. And all these numbers here on the left hand side, if you take a weighted average of them, you should come out to that gross loss ratio that was reported. So for example, here you can see my calculation based on these numbers, including the estimates, gives us estimated or a weighted average gross loss ratio of 86%, which is exactly what was reported, right? So basically all these estimates on the left-hand side were made in such a way that the weighted averages make sense, right? They always come out to what was reported, or at least within a rounding error. Okay, so then, for example, here we have the total gross loss ratio without the cat part, and so those as well need to match the ones that were reported. Okay, and then finally here we have another one. So these are based on what they provided to us in the insurance supplement in their latest shareholder letter. So they broke out the homeowners multi-peril, so which is home and renters together, gross loss ratio. And so if you take the weighted average of the home and renters part of their book, then you should also come out to these. So basically there's a lot of numbers that need to match, which limits the freedom we have here in these orange numbers to make them all fit, right? So the more data that we have, and now we have quite a lot of data, the more precise these estimates are getting. And I think right now there's not a lot you can change about them, maybe except for the life part that would still match all the reported numbers. So I think we are doing quite well. So if you want to see an example of how I did this, so let's see, in this number here was given in the Q2 23 shareholder letter. This one here said that home dropped 10 points over the year. So that's in a YouTube interview, and then we can see, okay, so home, let's see, the total for home is 118% here, and then 1 year earlier it was 128%. So you can see I've made them all match. Here you can see that on an earnings call that I wrote down all the information to make sure that these numbers all match what they disclosed, right? So I did this everywhere. You can see all these data points. Everything matches up real nice. For example, here, car gross loss ratio, 18 percentage points improvements. So from 117 here up to 99. Um, so yeah, you can see everything has been mapped out. Every interview has been watched. Every shareholder letter has been read. Every earnings call has been listened to. And all the numbers that were said somewhere were included in this model. So we now have this, I hope, very reliable view of their product mix and their loss ratios. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, if you would like to contribute to my trip here in New York City to attend Lemonade Investor Day, please feel free to do so. Send me a message and I will glad you give me my payment details so you can send me a little tip if you like. All right, bye.